We're talking about an innovative string program in a Pennsylvania school district that you might want to consider replicating on today's PMEA's Take Note podcast. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Despotakis. Welcome to this edition of PMEA's Take Note podcast. Today, we're talking with a school administrator who has done some really innovative stuff for music education in her school district. We're going to tell you about what that is. But first, let's introduce her and talk to her. Dr. Laura Jacob is the superintendent in the California Area School District on the western side of the state. Laura, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Mark. Glad to be here.
So let's start out. I always like people to tell people to let's level set. It's easier for you to tell us about yourself than me to read a bio about you. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I'm the proud superintendent of California Area School District. I'm going into my 6th year. I started in July 1 of 2020. And prior to that, I had various administrative roles, as well as I was an English teacher to start my career. But as it relates to music, I've always been passionate about music ever since I was a child. And that passion for music has continued both personally as well as professionally.
So, all right, let's dive into the music part, because people are probably saying, what in the world are we talking to a superintendent here about some music program? So full disclosure, first of all, Laura and I were in a high school marching band together. Go Warriors, right? Elizabeth
That's
Forward
right.
days.
No, Elizabeth.
So we've both taken different career paths, but music is still a piece of it. So talk to us a little bit more about your musical background, maybe and the things that you have done in music that has made it be an important part of your role as an administrator.
Sure. So obviously learning music as an elementary school student was so crucial to me, because it just continued, that knowledge continued all the way through going into marching band, where we marched together and enjoyed so many different outings together. But then also personally, once you learn music, that is a lifelong language that you can continue to express your entire life. So I continued to pick up various instruments, the violin being one of them. And with that being said, I still play personally for my personal enjoyment. And being in education and being in an administrative role, what's so powerful to me is that I can advocate for music education, and I can do whatever I can in my power to make sure that we provide the time, the space, the funding to ensure that music education continues for our children, no matter their path or their background.
And so that right there is enough of a great thing we want to hear every superintendent in the state to hear. But I know Laura takes it a step further, right? Laura's always been, let's take it a step further. And as you can see, there's some violins around her right now of various colors. So what does that mean? What does this have to do? So you have implemented an interesting program where you're 3D printing violins. Tell us about this program.
Sure. So I have some experience with 3D printing. My office is in the 3D print lab. And in our school district, we didn't have a strings program. And I knew that is typically financially a significant challenge, because there's a significant investment there. And I wanted to get a strings program started. And during the pandemic, I was watching a concert by the Ottawa Symphony. And the Ottawa Symphony they 3D printed violins, very, very advanced, and did an entire orchestra that was 3D printed. And I thought, well, we have access to 3D printers here in our school district, and I want to start a strings program. And if the Ottawa Symphony Orchestra can do it, then surely we can. So after a bunch of research and tweaking and printing and trying a variety of different methods, we were able to 3D print our own violin. So we print the entire body there in different colors for the kids, so they love the aspect that it's different colors. But if they want hot pink, they can have hot pink. If they want green, army green, they can have army green. So we print the whole body. This takes about 2 days to print the whole body. It is hollow on the inside, so you have that high quality sound there. We then 3D print the neck to the violin. So for example, this one's put all together. 3D print the neck. I modified some guitar pegs. So we just take some old guitar pegs and modify those to put on the back to hold the strings. You put a nice little fiberglass rod on there, use an actual wooden bridge for a higher quality sound, and then just violin strings, and you have yourself a 3D printed violin. And this is a way that I could, due to our low socioeconomic status, I could get strings in kids' hands for less than $50 a piece. And guess what? They can be really tough on them. And if they break them, it's not a big deal. I can just 3D print a new one or 3D print a new piece. And it was a great way for me to get our strings program started. And by starting it at the elementary, I teach it every Friday after school. So we do an after school club. Any kid that wants to stay after school and learn the violin, then we do it after school together. And for me, over time, that's going to help grow and develop to a full-fledged strings program once they get to high school.
Okay, I have so many questions now. Okay, so you teach this?
I do with our elementary music teachers. We do it together because I was previously an English teacher by training. However, I can get them started on the basics of a violin because I play it at home.
All right, so talk to me a little bit about the engineering of this, okay? So some people know my background was in the music products industry, so like I lived the world of finicky string instruments, particularly at the elementary level when you're dealing with sizes. So first of all, are you doing different size violins then?
Yeah, the one I'm showing you is a 4/4. So that's your traditional, 4/4 full size violin. You can make it smaller. We can go all the way down to a half size if we want to. It is easiest with a 4/4. Now, granted, keep in mind this isn't balanced. When you're using these guitar pegs, it is really heavy on this side. And when the kids pick it up versus say pick up my wooden violin, they notice that weight difference. So the balance isn't necessarily there. But for me, when I look at music and instrumentation, my goal is get instruments in kids' hands because guess what? They're going to play it. The kids go home, they're proud of their violin and they want to play for their family and they want to practice. And, they like their color, for example, or I have one student that has a Steelers violin. It's, black and gold. And so for me, it's as an administrator, I want to get as many instruments as I can in kids' hands, whether it's a violin, a tuba, a clarinet, whatever it might be. So this is one method for me to get instruments in kids' hands. So it's not perfect as far as the construction, the balance, but the sound gets it started. It's off by about a half a step every week. So when we go to tune it, it's about a half a step off once the strings are all broken in, and we just tune it every practice, and it's not a big deal. And that at least gets us started and gets them started with just learning the basics of the violin.
Talk a little bit about the engineering. I'm interested in, like, I guess I kind of get it. Like, okay, we can figure out what the body would look like and how you would do that. But the part that's interesting to me is the peg box. So
Yeah.
you kind of had to come up with a different design for it. Did you come up with this, or how was that? How was that engineering happening?
So I was learning off of a variety of different blogs of people that had done it previously. So if you look, you can see where you have just the guitar pegs here, and where you would typically have them meeting up, and there would be a hole there for it to get screwed into the guitar. We've snipped that off, and then if you turn it around, you can see that's where the strings are coming in on there. And this is plastic. This neck is the PLA plastic, and we just make sure we fill it in about 85% infill. So it's a really, really thick 3D printed plastic compared to having it hollow right here in the body. And then the strings just come all the way through, typical violin strings. We tried a plastic bridge, so a 3D printed bridge, but the sound just was really, really bad. Not that the sound is perfect on these ones, but it's good enough to get kids started on it. So we use a regular wooden bridge because that does help make a difference in the sound. A violin will also have a peg on the underneath one of the F holes there. These do not have that. So over time, this will break down from all the pressure going onto the right where the F holes are. But honestly, they last a good 3-4 years, so we haven't really had that many issues with it. You know, as far as that breaking down, the kids are more likely to drop it and have it break that way than breaking it down through the F holes. So yeah, that's the construction. And the neck just goes right on, and then we have a fiberglass rod here that just goes right down the center. It carries all the way down here and through about to this point on the body of the violin itself.
Fascinating. So have you, is it only violins? Have you moved into violas or at all?
We haven't done a viola, but we did do a modified electronic cello. So the kids love, we partnered with another school district. Ringgold is near us, and they have an elementary strings program. So we went up to them with our 3D printed instruments, and we did a little swap. So my kids got to play with wooden ones, and then their kids got to play with the 3D printed ones. We did a swap, and my kids really loved that cello. And so we did find online a modified electronic cello where you're plugging it into an amp. It looks like a upside down cross essentially, but it's plastic. It's 3D printed in multiple pieces with a large metal rod going through it with the cello strings and an amp piece connected. So we did try that, but it's mostly violins with the after school program on Fridays.
So what does this look like then as the program grows? So you're starting these elementary students, then what?
My goal is to have some strings in our elementary, in our secondary music program. So I have a K-6 building and a 7-12 building. I don't want to, when it comes to music, I don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul. Like, I don't want to have like just a singleton orchestra and then a concert band. I'd like them all to be integrated together. We're a very small district. I only graduate about 75 kids a year. So with that being said, I don't want to create a whole nother group to then just diminish the numbers with, say, concert bands. So it's just another element of having kids engaged in music and having them enjoy a particular instrument. So to me, it doesn't matter to me whether they choose strings, brass, percussion, whatever it might be. I just want kids to enjoy music and to play music.
You left out the best section, the woodwinds.
And the woodwinds.
Yeah. So I'm wondering then, for these students that are starting, are you finding that in the string program, are these students who are not taking up other instruments that they're saying, okay, I want to try something and I see the string instrument, or are you seeing that these are kids who are already interested in a band instrument and want to add something addition, or is it a mix of both?
It's a mix of both. So I have kids that are, yes, just interested in the violin, either because a family member previously played the violin, or they like the beauty of the violin or the sound of the violin. And then I do have some students that honestly, they say we have an after school club for music every single day of the week. So I have kids that'll stay after school on Monday for guitar, Tuesday for chorus, Wednesday for marching band, and every single day they're staying after school for a different music program. And that's fine by me as well. As long as the kids are engaged with music, then to me it's worthwhile. So it is a mix of kids. But as we know, once you learn how to read music, that lives with you forever. So it allows them that even if they want to change instruments or try something else, they're going to have that skill set with them forever.
Oh, wondering then, as you zoom out into your role as a superintendent, if you can say, okay, here are the other things now I'm seeing that are as a tangential benefit that I see in these students who are participating, either specifically in the string program or generally in the music program.
Well, we know that kids that are engaged in the arts and with music, that they do better academically, that they have better critical thinking skills. There's significant amount of research that supports all of those pieces. And so I think that having a well-rounded background with the arts and with music in particular only helps all kids become better as students and as individuals, looking towards the future. And I always say, the arts are what brings humanity to life and brings our elements to life. So to me, it's bringing that aspect of our lives as humans to so much, bring so much color to our lives.
So I would just say then, I was going to ask you what's your message to other superintendents in this, but I think you've just answered that basically, of the benefit and of thinking outside of the box, of what you can do, you know, in some ways, like you kind of have it all stacked against you, right? Small school district,
Yep.
socioeconomic issues, not an already established string program, but you just found a way to overcome all of those things. Teaching music, teaching some interesting technical skills as well in showing the 3D printing stuff. I just think that's an incredible message for other superintendents to really find a way to think outside of the box and put programs like this in place.
Yeah, and music teachers in general, I think that sometimes, as an administrator, I wish that I could, give 20 grand to my music teacher every year as part of his budget for various things. And so sometimes we'll have certain years that maybe the finances aren't there, but are there incremental steps that we can take to help get us where we want to be as far as the long term with our music program? And so I think, yes, being willing to think outside the box, whether you're an administrator or even a music teacher, and find ways that that we can still make those advances, even though it might not be, for example, a brand new instrument or the exact instrument that we wanted. It could still give us those baby steps towards where we want to go. I love thinking outside the box and seeing what do we have around us that we can make it happen and make it work. So, and we've had a variety of kids. I have kids in kindergarten all the way through to high school that are part of the after school program with the violins. And it's such a blessing to see 5-year-olds and 16-year-olds playing every Friday after school.
And on a Friday too.
And on a Friday, right?
I love it. So, Laura, I think this is so awesome. Just kind of demonstrating how, from your role, you are looking at the bigger picture, but then you're also finding ways to implement the smaller picture as it relates to the bigger picture. So, Laura, thanks for joining us and telling us about this today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. It was nice to see you again.
Nice to see you as well. And thank you all for joining us on this edition of PMEA's Take Note podcast. We want to thank our sponsor, the Grove City College Department of Music. We'll see you next time.